perspective that people never look at is if you look at all of these shows and different stuff, right? They show a different side of what they think black people even doing these things are actually like. So every time you see these things, they think of a bunch of disorganized people running around in the corner, shooting each other and doing crazy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
In none of these shows, you see that. You see highly organized people in
Mm-hmm.
businesses making more businesses, looking to possibly get out of the business and legitimize
Mm-hmm.
and do other things. And it's very organized. So I think it kind of dispels some of the stuff that people think too, because they want this belief to be that it's a bunch of wild people just running around doing crazy stuff.
Welcome to the No Ideas Original Podcast featuring Shannon, Mr. Rob, Zane, and Ken. We got episode 97. Lots going on in the world that we got to talk about, including pop culture, a little bit of fashion, and then we're going to have our Give Me Five again this episode. So let's get right to it, get right down to it. This was the week that everybody was waiting for R. Kelly's trial to come to a conclusion. R. Kelly's trial came to a conclusion, and he was found guilty on all accounts of racketeering and sex trafficking. Not only was he found guilty, I don't know why Bill Cosby decided that he was going to have a position and issue a statement on it also. What are your thoughts on R. Kelly being found guilty and Bill Cosby even having anything to say about R. Kelly?
For R. Kelly, I think that was like a foregone conclusion because they tried him in multiple states. Like if they didn't get him one place, they wouldn't get him somewhere. The interesting part is that everybody was unanimous across everywhere. Basically, he got convicted in every state, Chicago, New York. Like, you'd have thought he was a kingpin or something. Like, well, he got convicted. But,
Yeah.
And then Bill Cosby, what's funny? Throughout his whole life and everything, when he was in like big in television industry, he never really took a stand on anything. So this is the hill he chooses to stand on, R. Kelly. So,
well, you know what it is. You know why that is. If it probably hits close to home for him. His position is that that R. Kelly was railroaded. I don't know if I subscribe to that. I think it was only a matter of time for R. Kelly, though. R. Kelly to me has one of the greatest defense attorneys of all time. If he used the same defense attorney, because that first case he beat, where he said they literally had on tape somebody who looked exactly like him, and the tape was circulating around the hood, and he was like, "That's not me." He still beat that case. I think it's only a matter of time. Like, you keep playing with fire, and you're gonna get burned. As far as Bill Cosby having a position on it, I would say that I'm disappointed in Bill Cosby, but it seems like this is the new Bill Cosby. I think what I'm more disappointed in is the fact that this has become like almost like a narrative that we begin to accept. So when a dude is convicted of sexual assault, we automatically go to, well, the women set him up, or it couldn't have happened, or it's his story versus his story. We automatically go to that. And then there's another narrative that like we talked about, I think a couple of episodes ago, we saying Nicki Minaj, well, her defense for her husband before, when she's talking about her husband, was like, oh, well, it was a white woman and this, that, and come to find out it was a black lady and from his neighborhood. And I think that these things have been almost like weaponized to defend the sexual assault culture, and for as many people that probably are like, yeah, we knew this was coming, this is a foregone conclusion, I think that he still has a lot of supporters left and a lot of people who still believe that he's innocent, despite the fact that they made 2 documentaries. They had 40, I heard they have 40 some guests that they rolled out, 40 some witnesses. And somebody said, which is crazy to me, somebody said all 40 of those women couldn't have been telling the truth, or all 40 of those people. So to me, it's like, if it was 12 out of the 40, that changed.
12. I mean, the whole thing is crazy. Like, I don't remember the exact interview, but I remember when Nas was having the beef with Jay-Z, and they were doing Best of Both Worlds, and R. Kelly stuff started coming up. And I remember Nas making a statement like, if you've been around R. Kelly or something, everybody knows this is kind of like how he rolls. So it's like, it wasn't no secret. Everybody that worked with him and different stuff knew how he kind of moved.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard stories of him having recording sessions and having four women butt naked in each corner while he recorded, and like inside information people have told me this
Yeah,
um about him. And it just, it's unfortunate. He, to me, is somebody that I think like is officially canceled. Like, I don't know when the last time I've heard a R. Kelly song on the radio. When's the
no,
last time you heard Kelly?
no, I
Nothing.
haven't heard it. I will say this: he's still big in the They still play him in the stepping joints, and you'll still catch him in a black wedding every once in a while. Stepping in the name of love. So he ain't
Yeah,
getting no spends no money off of that. But
yeah,
yeah,
his net worth is negative 2 million. I think they said.
yeah, he should have. You know what's funny about this whole thing? When I look at his whole situation, I gotta believe that in the beginning of this, they offered him a deal.
I'm
I
sure they
mean,
probably did.
right now, this fool could have took a deal for something maybe like 10 years, and it sounds like a lot. But
Hmm.
after those 10 years, he probably would have had 30, $40 million. Now he's completely depleted, going to jail probably for they're gonna put like football numbers. You're gonna think that this was like Tecmo Bowl or something. He got 97 years consecutive or something. Because all
Yeah,
of charges, he got racketeering, child sex trafficking.
yeah.
There, that
He's gonna appeal though. I think it's standard practice to appeal. I don't know what he has appeals, what the grounds are for an appeal, but I'm sure he'll appeal.
I mean, I don't know what I'm sure he's gonna appeal, but are they gonna allow him to appeal without being remanded to custody?
No, no, he's definitely staying in. He's
Yeah.
staying in. He's not
So
getting out. Like, there's no. I don't think they've ever offered him bond. I don't
yeah,
think. I don't think like he's staying in. He's not gonna get out. He's gonna go through the appeal and hope that he wins on an appeal and then get released if he wins on appeal. I don't know. I haven't followed the trial that close to see if there was like prosecutorial misconduct or
yeah,
anything out of whack. It seems like that they had like really sound, strong evidence and strong testimony against him that led to the conviction. But something I will say, and this is gonna sound bizarre, because I'm gonna say it in R. Kelly's defense. I don't think R. Kelly could have got a fair trial anywhere. I
no,
think R. Kelly's
not in
been guilty
America.
in a court of opinion. Like, how some people request for a change. I want to change the venue. I want to
Yeah,
have my trial somewhere else or whatever. I think he's such a notable person. His case is so high profile that there's no way possible he could have got a fair trial. And I wonder if if it could have been a circumstance where he possibly got like a bench trial where the judge is a person ruling on it and he didn't have a jury. Like, what kind of jury would ever find R. Kelly innocent?
R. Kelly's case was so big that like even if you checked and you seen on the Spanish channels like Telemundo and stuff, they was talking about R. Kelly's case or his thing. When you flip through the channels, I'm like, wait a minute, is that R. Kelly on there? But if you think about it, he would have had R. Kelly would have had to get trialed in Paraguay or someplace where they never heard of him for him to get a fair shot. But realistically, I mean, there's no
Karma.
way that he could say he did. I didn't do all of that. Like you said, 12 out of 40 is still 12. I mean, and then
Yeah.
when you look at him, like he don't help himself because people referencing the songs. Like, wait a minute, the songs sound like exactly what he did. Yeah,
Yeah. Bill Cosby to me right now is exhibiting a person that is just like, when you get away or you get off, I think you need to kind of fall back. But at first, then he was trying to go like on a comedy tour or something, and
yeah,
even
that
issuing a
was crazy.
statement about this.
Nobody, yeah.
I don't, is he trying to like, I guess, like trying to polish up his reputation because it's been tarnished, or is he trying to say that this is something that's systemically plagues black men, that black successful men are going to get railroaded? What's this? What is he
I
trying
think
to convey?
I think he's trying to say he get railroaded, but he needs to look at right now. He's thinking along the terms of being railroaded. He needs to take that O.J. Simpson example where they could double dip on his ass. They'll find something else. He keep putting himself out there, making statements. They'll start looking through his taxes and everything else, fine tooth combing him, and he'll be in there because he stole his own autographs or something. So
That's the OJ joint. OJ was
O.J.
trying to profit off of murder. I didn't do it, but if I did it, this is how I would have did it.
Yeah, yeah. I couldn't believe when Bill Cosby tried to go on a comedy tour. Like, I mean, first of all, let's be realistic. Bill Cosby ain't been on a comedy tour since Subi 48, the 70s or something. So who the hell want to hear Bill Cosby tell jokes, even if he wasn't arrested? What jokes was Bill Cosby going to tell on the front? Nobody want to hear about no pudding pops or nothing.
Yo,
Yeah, he
I
ain't put on
guess
a tool.
I guess
But
you know what though, clout. Maybe maybe whoever was around him was like, now is the time. Like, put out your memoir. Do shoot a documentary. I think he was going for clout. But somebody,
somebody said
I don't know if
that.
his wife,
Yeah,
somebody got in his ear and told him like, nah, just fall back and enjoy life out of prison. He got a hell of a story though. Imagine if he was to write like his memoirs in terms of when he was locked down, what his story would be like.
I mean, I hate to say it, like Bill Cosby, he'll write it. You know when his book's gonna sell?
When
When
he
Bill
dead.
Cosby, yeah, when he's dead.
Yeah.
Everybody gonna want to know about what happened when he's dead.
And then
But
I'm trying to figure out like, so where does R. Kelly go from here? Like, if he's officially canceled, he's not getting spins on the radio, nobody's buying his music, he's not producing any new music. Like, how does he monetize his name? Like, I guess I'm sure he could license his name, but what kind of licensing would he get? Like, maybe license his name for I want a biography film. It's going to be an authorized biography or something, or like, how does he monetize his name to stay afloat at this point?
I mean, for R. Kelly, this is what he's got to think about. Like, if it comes down to it, you go through the appeal, and if it comes out you're not gonna get the appeal, he might as well go the other direction with it because unless he truly doesn't give a damn about nobody else, he still got like, what I understand, a couple of kids out there from different women,
Yeah, yes,
all
kids.
types of stuff going on. Just go out there, you lose the appeal, and be like, you know what? I'm gonna tell you the real story and tell the real story or something.
And try to sell a story.
Yeah, because to be honest with you, like I don't think that he didn't do this, but I don't think some of these parents are like complicit in the situation either.
Oh
Because
yeah, that's true.
it's like the Michael Jackson thing. Like when I used to get on Michael Jackson, if somebody said Michael Jackson molested a kid and you take your kid to Michael Jackson
Leave him
afterwards,
there. Yeah.
yeah. So if R. Kelly be taking people's kids and disappearing, and you bring your kid to him, I mean,
That's probably one of the things, honestly, that I'm sure that he got to be upset about because he's gonna get hit with some serious time. But
yeah,
where are the managers? So I heard
mm-hmm.
somebody mention the other day saying his wife, like his wife had to know,
She had
all the hanger-ons and all the people, the parents that were bringing their kids over to him, knowing all the stuff. So yeah, there are other people definitely that should be in the mix. So what you saying? You think R. Kelly should pull a Takashi and take everybody down?
You should. Why not? If you go on a appeal and they're gonna tell like if you got 47 years, you go on appeal and they be like, nope, and you gonna end up doing 39 years at 50. No, he might as well tell on everybody under the sun who like, yeah, listen, when I was at the record label,
sell a story. You think
yeah,
it like that?
think about it. When I'm at he could tell stuff. You gonna tell me the record label didn't know some weird stuff going on? The studios at the label,
I mean,
they got cameras everywhere.
Yeah, it was the worst kept secret, I think, like for years. And that's crazy too, because him and Bill Cosby stuff was like it was just like it was commonly known. Like it was almost used as like a punchline. Like how many people you heard running around talking about, yo, I'm a R. Kelly this person, or
Yeah.
I'm gonna do this or do that, or roofing, people was called, I'm gonna pull a Cosby on this person.
Yeah.
And, like these are things that I think we just accepted about these people, and it's sad that we've accepted it and we become conditioned to believe that these things are okay. I think the only way he survives and he could be financially stable, if that's his concern. I'm sure right now his mental health is probably shot, but if he wanted to continue to make money to support his children, then I think he has to figure out a way to monetize. His stuff. And I don't know, maybe he could ghostwrite some songs from prison or something.
That they'll let him do it. They'll let him do that. They can't stop him. They can't stop him because it's not like he's like singing them over the phone or nothing like that. They can stop him from doing.
He ain't laying no reference tracks, but maybe he know. And you know what? The emphasis on ghostwriting, because I think that if it comes out that he wrote the songs, then people are like, nah, you are like people will ridicule. You'll get ridiculed probably for working with
using it. Yeah, you couldn't even use but he could do something around that or something. I mean, some people's careers is bombing out. They could use some R. Kelly tracks. Something. I mean, Trey Songz probably should link up with him before you go to jail. See if he get a couple of tracks. He going in the wrong direction.
Oh man, yo, did you get a chance to watch BMF yet?
Yeah.
What did you think of it?
I thought it was pretty good. Listen, I like the fact that I guess they selling it from Meech's perspective or something.
Mm-hmm.
And you and laugh. I actually think I like that more than I like these new power spinoffs.
Really?
Yeah, because some of this power stuff, like they don't like. I'll give you a perfect example. The Kanan one, the kid Kanan doesn't match the adult Kanan. Like you gonna have to do like 6 seasons to. You gonna have to do 6 seasons to get me to the dude that's adult from this day.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't. You don't see that. Yeah.
Yeah, because I couldn't even see this kid turning into the Kanan that they had or something. He would have to become a completely different person.
Yeah, yeah. I like Raising Kanan. I thought Raising Kanan was better than Power Book 2 is Ghost, right? With Tariq.
Yeah.
I thought it was better than that. I like BMF also. But the reason why I brought this topic up is because I was listening the other day and I heard somebody say that they feel like 50 Cent has brought us all this content, but all the content seems to be surrounding drug dealing culture. And is it that 50 hasn't found another story to tell, or is he glorifying drug dealing culture? And I thought about it, and I'm like, yeah, it's true. When you think about like the Power series, you think about BMF. He did For Life on ABC, but that wasn't so much about drug dealing. That was about the gentleman that was in prison and he became like
being done wrong.
Lawyer and stuff like that. I wonder why 50 Cent receives this type of criticism for continuously telling these same stories. But then there are other people that produce and direct that they tell the same stories over and over also. Like I mean 50 Cent I think is probably found with his why is the narrative that he's promoting drug culture instead of he found his sweet spot as a creator?
Yeah, I mean I think that this is a lot of times where people get messed up is they go out of their lane or something. Like we wouldn't want to see 50 Cent making romantic comedies because that's just not who he is. So he's probably speaking from a perspective of what he knows, what he's seen, and he can relate to these people. And the fact that I think it's more so people who come up with this stuff don't like the fact that it's necessarily successful. You don't hear about people talking about other dudes. Quentin Tarantino, we got coke in every movie. Yeah, you don't hear nothing about that. Because it's referenced in a different way, or they're comfortable with that. Oh, a hippie dude could use coke, or this guy could use blow, or whatever he's doing, and they're fine with that. But I really think that, I mean, I hate to say it, I think it's hard for minorities to make money off of things that are that's kind of like taboo. Like there's like liquor, drugs, guns, all those type of things. Like Smith and Wesson could sell guns for 100 years. Let us start a gun company. People be going crazy.
Yeah. Think about like a Martin Scorsese. Martin Scorsese made all those Italian gangster films, all of them, and nobody ever said. People looked at him and was like, "Oh, this is a great piece of art."
Yeah.
Nobody was super critical of him. Now, I'm not comparing 50 Cent to Martin Scorsese, in terms of filmmaking, but I think that I guess the reason why this comes up also is because there's like a huge narrative being pushed also about how art is really tainting people in the community, that music is a huge contributor to why people are doing drugs or committing violence, and now with this maybe potentially film is glorifying it. And I don't know, I've always been one that I didn't necessarily subscribe to music being a contributor as to why people do things, because I always felt like there's music, there's video games, there's film, there's everything. There's just so many things that you see that can influence a person to do something. So I'm not so quick to throw it off on that this has to do with film, but I do think it's probably about the success of it, because it's successful and he continues to do it. It's almost like Tyler Perry. Look how many Madea films he made. He wouldn't have kept making those Madea films, which pretty much was almost like the same film, but just a different scenario for Madea if they weren't successful. And the fact that he has an audience, I heard somewhere that as a result of Raising Kanan, that Starz got a million new subscribers to the channel, and that he already got greenlit for season 2 of BMF.
Yeah, well, you gotta figure he's making money, he's making companies money. This is kind of like his big comeback. Like I think he probably gets a little glory out of putting songs in the shows, but I don't think he ever really wants to go down that way or lane anymore. I don't think that's where he sees it at. And when you look at it, if he can be successful what he's doing and he has a formula that's successful, as much as people individually or different people will complain, Stars is not gonna complain. So
Of
so
course not.
the
Yeah,
people that count, for him to be successful are not gonna complain. And as far as like the influence on, families and kids and different stuff, I mean, people walk outside their house right now every day in certain neighborhoods and see it firsthand.
exactly.
Yeah, the TV is not the TV. If you're in that situation, the TV is not showing you anything different than what some people are seeing
You've
right now.
experienced.
Yeah,
Yeah,
what they
you already
experience.
experienced.
So you
Yeah.
figure, I mean, the first influential place is the place you live, where you live and who you're around, what you see day to day. This comes
Mhm.
on once, 10 episodes for 10 weeks, within
Yeah.
once a year. And these guys see this 10 hours a day, every single day of the year. So
Yeah, yeah. I agree with in terms of like I think this is a great way for 50 to reinvent himself. I actually like the music in the TV shows better than the actual music that 50 do at this
yeah,
point. Like and not a lot of people have life after music, and he's shown that he's a really good business person. And the other thing about the BMF show that I really like and I appreciate is that this is an actual story that he's telling.
yeah,
This is not something that's made up. Like he's telling a story, actually, the Black Mafia family. So, how many seasons it lasts, and if it continues to garner the attention of the masses for multiple seasons, I think that remains to be seen. But for now, it looks like 50 Cent got another hit show on his hand.
you know what I think is interesting about it too, that the perspective that people never look at is if you look at all of these shows and different stuff, right? They show a different side of what they think black people even doing these things are actually like. So every time you see these things, they think of a bunch of disorganized people running around in the corner, shooting each other and doing crazy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
In none of
Mm-hmm.
these shows, you see that. You see highly organized people in
Mm-hmm.
businesses, making more businesses, looking to possibly get out of the business and legitimize
Mm-hmm.
and do other things. And it's very organized. So I think it kind of dispels some of the stuff that people think too, because they want this belief to be that it's a bunch of wild people just running around doing crazy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And in most cases, it's not.
Yeah. No, that's a great point. That's a great point. If you even go back to Power, like the story being told in Power about the original one about Ghost trying to
Yeah,
get out of the game and go legit, being a club owner,
yeah,
um, and just like the difference in terms of different dynamics of relationships with his children, his wife, his childhood sweetheart, and all this stuff. Like, yeah, it's and you see that theme like even now with like the Raising Canaan with
yeah,
the late I think her name is Rock. Like how
yeah,
she's supposed to be
yeah,
trying to build a family business and the enterprise, and like there's subtle themes in there. I think also of her like trying to promote like female leadership and
yeah,
feminism and stuff like that. Like these are the undercurrents I think that people don't see because I think they just go to, oh, here it is. There's another story about drug dealing. But if you think about it, like there's a whole genre of books. You have even before. So back in the days for film, there was blaxploitation, and then for books, you
yeah,
had what was it called? Street literature. What's
yeah.
the other thing? Like Donald Goines books people used to read.
Oh yeah, yeah,
We had Kwame Teague on here. We had Quan. Like these are all different authors that kind of have this lane of telling these stories. And believe me, that if these stories weren't appealing and they didn't sell, people wouldn't tell them.
yeah,
Wouldn't tell them. So I see nothing wrong with him doing it and making these shows because I think at the end of the day, the consumer is going to be the one that tells them if they tired of seeing them.
yeah,
If he gets Power Book 3 or 4 and he doing a thing on Tommy or whatever it is, and people are like, "Nah, I'm off this," then we'll know. Like, all right, we've gotten enough of this content. We need you to change and try something different or do something different. But for now, it seems
yeah,
like that to me, he's in a position where he's producing really good content. I think he knows who his core audience is. I think he knows how to market to his audience
yeah,
really good. I think he understands like cross marketing also by putting music in there. He's given a lot of actors, I think, a color, an opportunity to further their career. If you look at the people who's directing, I looked at BMF. The director for BMF was one of the women that used to be in Tyler Perry movies,
yeah, yeah. I seen
and I
that.
think she was the woman who played like the I don't know if you remember this. You remember CB4?
Yeah, yeah,
I think she played in CB4 too, and was Trust's girlfriend or something like that. I forget what her name is, but giving her an opportunity, like, so you look at stuff like that, and it's like one of the episodes was the Raising Kanan, I think, was even directed by the dude Lou that's in it.
Yeah.
So for him to actually be creating these opportunities, telling these stories, I don't see anything wrong with it, and I hope that he continues to get the support of the viewers and the support of stars while he's doing it, and he's not deterred to move. 50 Cent has a strong constitution, so I don't think he'll be easily deterred anyway, but not deterred to move away from stories that people clearly are interested in.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
Man, a story that I'm really not interested in? Why the hell is Dog the Bounty Hunter helping to look for Gabby Petito's boyfriend? Like, how did that come about?
See, I mean, when you think of that, like, this is a man who got vilified on TV, taken out, got all drugged out, all types of stuff. And I think this is like a ditch to be relevant. I don't even think, how can we even take this man seriously as a bounty hunter? I mean, this dude lives in Hawaii or something. He done flew to the States from Hawaii to hunt down somebody in the Everglades or something. Talking about the parents went on two camping trips since he disappeared. I mean, unless he with him, I'm surprised they're not trying to film it or something. That'll be next. Yeah.
He probably is. So you think? I mean, I know he had all that heat on him when he got caught using the N-word.
Yeah.
And then I think what's crazy? His response or apology to it was that when he died, he's supposed to be buried in a slave cemetery.
Yeah.
Something crazy he said. I think he's been going through a lot. He had that, and I know his wife passed away.
Yeah.
So I do think that this is something for him to kind of get attention and to try to get some positive PR around. But I'm gonna be honest with you, like at the height of Dog the Bounty Hunter's career, I've never taken him serious. I've never seen value in anything that he did.
No, I never thought. I thought he was more of a comic relief. Like this dude out here, I kind of liken him to that Tiger dude. They the same dude.
Yeah, I know you're talking about. The Tiger King man.
Yeah, they both was like jokes. Him and the Tiger King dude. Dog the Bounty Hunter. I don't even like. I'm pretty much sure the family did not call Dog the Bounty Hunter.
He's getting a lot of press though. He's getting a lot of press. I think I looked on one of the a newspaper today online, and he was on the front cover, and it was like Dog the Bounty Hunter says that he's closing in on Gabby Petito's boyfriend. Like, it's just, and then even if you click on like CNN, go to CNN.com or something, or Fox, whatever it is, this dude is like front and center. Like, I'm trying to figure out, like, how did he become the primary on this case? Like, how did he become the go-to? Like, yo, let's just all the expert, the legitimate people, the people who don't have a TV show, step to the side that have been doing this probably forever, and now he's out here talking. I read an article where they said that he was at he thought that he was close because he found camping grounds and he found a Monster energy drink can that wasn't rusted, so he suspects that he's on the trail. What the hell is he, Scooby-Doo in the mystery machine? Scooby-Doo in the game?
We got Dog the Bounty Hunter out there, right? Doing, I guess, what the FBI can't do. Is that what we saying? The FBI can't catch him. Let's get Dog the Bounty Hunter. So the FBI, you know what's funny about this case too? Listen, I don't want to get nobody all riled up or nothing crazy, right? But in the black person perspective, if I would have identified a truck and then an hour later found it was a body, guess what? The boyfriend wouldn't have been the only suspect. I would have been one of the suspects too. So don't get me wrong. I'm pretty much sure a dude bugged out. They had got into some kind of fight before or something crazy. Because I don't think he would just be disappearing. Disappearing is not an act of somebody that's not guilty. So even if he resurfaced, I don't think he could get past that one. That's gonna be hard.
Nah, I'm putting out there. I think he did it.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, like, if this was a black, if this was a black young lady, you think Dog the Bounty Hunter would have volunteered his services?
No. Well, I mean, without getting
LaQuisha from Compton went missing.
I mean, you think about it, without getting into like specific things, we had cases where black girls disappeared and stuff like that. I didn't even see the FBI get involved.
Yeah.
Let alone Dog the Bounty Hunter or something.
Yeah, they wrapped that up in 2 weeks.
Yeah, so
They wrapped that up in 2 weeks.
yeah, they get that stuff done out of the way. Like apparently somebody was saying like there's somebody right now in Phoenix or something. I believe that either a girl or a dude that he done disappeared for weeks or stuff. And I know, they usually we disappear. They think it's a runaway. So it's a difference. If your parents is looking, it's not a runaway. But again, what's in the do is not. I'm trying to figure out even too how the FBI gets involved in a case like this because missing persons cases happen every day. So
it's
how
so high profile.
Yeah.
It's because it's so high profile from a national level, and it's getting all this media attention. Like I think that's why they have involvement. But yeah, I just don't Dog the Bounty Hunter. Like I would have rather them call up the cast of Police Academy than Dog the Bounty Hunter. It's like, this dude is a joke. Really? This is what we doing?
It doesn't sound good. The FBI and Dog's Joint Task Force, Dog the Bounty Hunter and the FBI Joint Task Force, looking for Gabby Petito.
I'm gonna tell you what's crazy. What's crazy than that? Now, if he found the dude and the FBI can't find him, then that really make you step back and be like, "Oh man, like we really in trouble."
Somebody gonna let kid disappear. Are we gonna call FBI? No, don't call FBI. Call Dog the Bounty Hunter. He'll find him.
Maybe maybe this could be his new his new lane for him to go searching for missing people, tracking down high profile cases. I mean, he's been chasing that. Usually, whenever I seen Dog the Bounty Hunter, he was chasing down dudes who skipped bail in Hawaii. Yeah. That they got locked up. They was in the drunk tank. They never showed up for court. He rolled up on their house, give them a Coke and a cigarette, and bring them out. Call them today. Come here, brother. Come on out, brother. Yeah. Like and that was the extent of, I guess, like his work. And you know what the crazy thing is? He'll have a dude that it could be a dude that they was locked up for car accident or something, outstanding tickets. Him and his crew are rolled up. They got on bulletproof vests. Yeah. They got walkie-talkies and all this stuff or whatever for a dude who they going to apprehend. That was he left out the car accident or something like that. Yeah. I don't know.
I wonder if he's out there with his crew too, because that'd be hilarious. Watching the FBI and Dog and his crew side by side, like one of them walking around together.
The FBI ain't talking. I'm sure the FBI ain't even talking to Dog the Bounty Hunter. They probably like
Dog is walking around drinking a Coors Light, telling people, "Listen, y'all gotta go." He's walking through the Everglades with a Coors Light, talking about, "Listen, I got this under control."
Oh man, yo, I don't know if you've seen this. I gotta show you this though, because our next topic is we gonna talk about Kanye West and his $90 Gap hoodie. So for those who haven't seen it, this is the hoodie. This is the hoodie right here. And let's make sure people can see it clearly.
So you got an exclusive deal with Russell.
That's the Kanye West Gap hoodie. Are you here for the Kanye West Gap hoodie? You signing up for the $90 hoodie or it's trash?
That $90 hoodie looked like a Russell Athletics hoodie or something. That joint probably should cost about $19.99 or something. He will, because Kanye was him. I would be surprised if you see him wearing it.
I saw a picture of him wearing it.
On him wearing it?
I saw him wearing it. And I think that's what he's trying to do. Like it's gonna go for $90 because his name is on it. But honestly, and to me, for a really good hoodie, I've spent more than $90.
I have.
So it's not like, let's not say that $90 is outrageous, but for the quality of that hoodie from Gap, $90 is outrageous. Like literally, he couldn't even put Yeezy. He couldn't put Kanye. He couldn't even put Gap on it. It's just nothing, just a plain hoodie that you get from Walmart for probably $9.
Most people would prefer to have that hoodie that say Gap on the front with the blue letters. That's than that one. That's better quality than that one.
Yeah, I guess a lot of people look at Kanye and say that he has genius level talent, and I think that there are things that Kanye has done that I'm like, okay, like that's extremely creative. It's hard for me to anoint him a genius, being that we're still in present day.
Yeah.
But I think that there are things that like I've seen him do things in music and in fashion that weren't necessarily popular, but then became embraced. And I'll give you an example, like even with the sneakers, you know,
Yeah.
like he's one of the people that he brought to the mainstream, like the big dad shoe, where people
Yeah.
wear like the biggest shoes. I think they're the 700 Wave Runners. Those are the biggest shoes. You know, like designer shoes like Balenciaga and stuff like that. They have been doing it, but he
Yeah.
brought it to like almost like everyday shoes, and people embraced it. You know, like a lot of the stuff you look at, like I think Kanye is trying to be a minimalist. Like I've
Yeah.
seen like some of the architecture, the designs in his home. You look at like them Yeezy slides and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I think we gotta also be real. Like some of the stuff is it doesn't look good. And I think that sadly you could get away with stuff not looking good when it's like high-end designer. You know, like somebody will go out and buy a ugly Balmain pair of
Just
jeans
yeah.
just to be like, these are Balmain jeans.
Yeah.
But they ain't gonna go out and spend $90 for a Blink hoodie from Gap and be like, this is a Gap hoodie with nothing on it when it's a Russell Athletic or Walmart hoodie.
You know what? Maybe it could be that that's his offering at a lower price. I did hear something like one of the reasons why he's starting to release so many different colorways of the sneakers and different stuff is to try to drive the price down from like doing the secondary market stuff.
Yeah.
But there are colors that don't generate a lot on the secondary market.
Mm-hmm.
So I did hear that he's trying to, put out more stuff to try to keep the prices down. But
And
like you said, there's no indication that hoodie comes from him.
Yeah, and he wants to. I remember he said that when he signed with Adidas, he was like he wants everybody to have an opportunity to own a pair of Yeezys, but supply and demand is important, right? So the value of the shoe is going to decrease if everybody owns it. It's going to be it's not going to be as meaningful for people. And you could tell, I guess maybe he's trying to have almost like Polo got Ralph Lauren and they got Chaps, like, because his stuff, you could tell the Yeezy stuff, all of it got like the homeless apparel feel. It's all got all the holes and the ripped heads and everything and all that. And there are things that distinctly say whether it's the homeless vibe or not. It says Yeezy, but this is just like a plain black, like you said, Russell Athletic or Gildan hoodie. Hoodie that's probably like real thin, that's going for $90. And here's the kicker with it. I don't know if you heard this. They said that it's going to take, and I was surprised that Gap did this. I think they said that it's going to take like 4 to 6 weeks to ship.
What?
Now, that's standard practice for like some of these other, like you see, there are people who now manufacture their own sneakers, manufacture their own clothing. Yeah. What they do is they do pre-orders. They get the money from the pre-orders and use the money from the pre-orders. The front to pay for the manufacturing so they don't have to come out of their own pocket. But Gap is a company that I'm sure they mass produce stuff, in crazy quantities. So why wouldn't Gap just go out and buy, thousands of a plain blue hoodie style? They could literally probably go to Walmart and buy them all out or whatever and have them. Like I even looked at the material. I think it says like 100% cotton or something like that. So there is nothing distinctively that stands out that says that this is a hoodie that's worth $90 other than Kanye West co-signed it.
See, now the interesting part about it being a Gap is that the Gap every year has like every season they have end of season sales. So what's gonna happen is this Kanye West regular sweatshirt you buy for $90. By the time it gets to the next season, they're gonna be selling that for $19.99 or $20 or something online or something or at the store. So I mean, I don't know if you really want one, you could wait till if they put it in the fall collection. You could wait till the winter and get one for like 70% off or something. So,
or you could go to Walmart and get one now, or go on Amazon and get one now. Just get you
you could
plain black hoodie, plain black blue hoodie, or whatever it is, and just be like, yeah, this is a Yeezy, a Gap Yeezy joint or whatever. I bet you somebody buy it, and I bet you, when it hit the resale market, instead of being $90, somebody will get $100+ for it.
See, the crazy thing is, how do you even identify it as being the Kanye joint off of the picture? I mean, there's a tons of black hoodies that look the same, and they say a Gap tag in the back. I mean, that could be anything. The Gap themselves made regular black hoodies. So, what's the difference between this Yeezy one and that one? They're
Yeah, I'm
gonna have
sure
a
they
picture
gotta
of
have
Yeezy on the tag or something.
they must. I'm sure. I'm sure they're gonna find some way to put something on the tag that says Gap Yeezy. But I guess again, like maybe this gives everybody. If the theory is this gives everybody an opportunity to own something that says Yeezy on it, the price point is still high for it to be the Gap. Like, what is the Gap? I haven't bought anything from the Gap in a long time, but what does the Gap sell for $90? Maybe a
Yeah,
jacket or coat or something like that.
yeah, it's not a lot. The funniest thing about this, now that you talk about it, like this is entry to make price points. You selling a regular sweatshirt for $90. That's like going back to, remember when Shaq put them Shaq sneakers in Walmart, and remember the
For like
what's that?
$15, $20. And
Yeah,
Steph
the
had
$20
the
sneakers.
joints in the
Yeah,
Starbursts.
Steph had the Starberries, and wasn't Al Harrington had something too he was working with or something. That
Mm-hmm.
might have been M ones or something when they dropped down or something.
Yeah.
So if he really wanted to put something with Yeezy on it, and especially a blank sweatshirt, he could have collaborated with Walmart. They'd have loved to do it with him, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Especially that put it, if he would have put it in Walmart as Yeezy at 20 to 24.99, them shelves would
Mm-hmm.
be empty every second.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I guess we got to stay tuned and figure out what the thought process was behind it. That like I understood. I understood when he partnered with Gap. I'm like, I think that's cool. That's a good idea. It's a good partnership. But I expected him to produce something. I don't know what I expected him to produce, but I expect him to produce something better than a plain sweatshirt.
I
Like I
will
don't.
say this. I do want to see it. I'll probably go see it to see what it looks like, because just looking at it, I don't even see the strings. You know, the strings in the regular hoodie?
Mhm.
What it would have cost $130 if they had to put strings in it or something.
I don't know.
Like,
Man, we let's come back to our the game that we've been playing lately. To give me five. This week we gonna do five of give me your five TV show sitcom that your five favorite your five favorite of all time, and then tell me why. What makes it a favorite?
so this is gonna be ironic because we talked about them. One of them was the Cosby Show.
Okay.
So Bill on that show, at least they depict. Is one of the only shows, even to this day, where black people were depicted in a way where they could be doctors and lawyers in
Mm-hmm.
positive ways. It wasn't about necessarily all the bad we did in society and all
Mm-hmm.
this stuff. It actually showed what a functional middle class or maybe upper middle class family could be, and a
Yeah.
black family. And it was, and at the same time, I didn't feel like they really lost any of themselves in doing it. So it wasn't like they tried to be something else either.
Yeah, they didn't panda. I was on the fence because I almost picked the Cosby Show too for the same thing, same reasons you saying. I'm like, I think it was a good representation. So I stayed for my first one. I stayed close to home with the Cosby Show, and I went a different world. And I
Okay.
went with a different world because I looked at a different world, and I think a different world was like the first time there was like a full all out representation of HBCU and pride in actually going to school. I've heard a lot of people say that they went to college from watching A Different World, and A Different World still, even to this day, there are people that like from generations that's far removed from us, that younger folks that still watch A Different World in
Yeah.
syndication. And I think what's cool about it is that Bill Cosby appeared in a couple of episodes, but it primarily wasn't about him. The
Yeah.
evolution of the show was great. Like that first season, you seen Sandra, so it was a natural spinoff.
Yeah.
Denise, you saw Denise, right? So it was a natural spinoff. Denise was in it, and then I don't know if it was maybe about the second or third season. It wasn't even about Denise. It was, Dwayne Wayne, Whitley,
Yeah.
just everything going on with this place. It became such folklore that people thought Hillman was a real place.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I go different world. What's your next one?
So now this one is kind of the opposite of that or something, because it's kind of like, I remember I used to like to watch Different Strokes, man.
Different strokes? Okay.
Now, here's the crazy thing about that is Different Strokes is actually depicting two black kids getting rescued by a white family, basically, or something. So it's kind of foul, and it would never ride today. Nobody would ever buy that story today. That'd be canceled ASAP.
But
But
that was a Hollywood storyline for a long time. Like that Hollywood storyline probably followed us all the way up to 2000. Because remember, you had, what was it, Webster? You had Webster too. But then you think about like some of the other stuff that they had. It was always the Dangerous Minds, the radio, the whatever it is. It was always the savior coming in and rescuing the little black kids.
Yeah, I mean, you think about it too, or something. You get again, you got black kids. Like it's almost like you got to see again black kids how they could thrive in the same type of environment had they given the opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it also showed how they would change, but it showed that how they could thrive in that environment too. The funniest thing is there's definitely what I would say the big time proof or evidence of life not imitating art, because all the people in there lost their minds, drug addicts, died, all crazy stuff. So,
yeah. Mrs. Garrett, maybe don't. I wonder if Mrs. Garrett is still alive.
Yeah.
For my second one, I'm gonna go Good Times. Okay. And the reason why I say Good Times is because I think Good Times was like a real accurate depiction of what I can't even say working class. How you call it? Family living in poverty in Cabrini Green and the projects in Chicago, what they had to go through. It was as real as you seen the pops who couldn't keep a job, the moms trying to hold down the fort in the house, the brother who had aspirations to go to college. Then you had the other brother that was autistic. You had the sister, and it seems like that they never could come up. Like I remember they thought they was coming up when James was getting a job in Mississippi, but they ended up killing him off. And died in the car accident. And then when Penny thought that she was gonna get out of the projects and she was with dude that was a football player, something happened and JJ broke his leg and and it just showed like I think like a real good depiction of not to sound cliche, but like them struggling and surviving in the hood. So I got I'm gonna go with Good Times for my second one.
And I had good times too. I had good times for one of the shows too. For the same reasons you had. It was one of those shows where it shows. I mean, a lot of stuff now it's a little different because of the reference and time frames.
Mm-hmm.
But there's people still going through this stuff every single day.
Yeah,
like they're struggling, and the struggle that they have is real, and how we persevered through it. But like you said, there's some iconic scenes in there, like the damn
damn. What's your third one?
I had this is funny. I had Law and Order.
Law and Order is a great show. It's a popular one. Law and Order.
Let me tell you, I just recently read when I was thinking about this. It was interesting that Law and Order SVU is the second longest running show to the Simpsons.
I could believe that.
Yeah,
I could believe that.
And it was interesting because I read an article from Ice-T a while back where Ice-T said he would never leave. They would have to drag him off the show. Because I believe, dude, I think he gets paid almost $1 million an episode now, something crazy like that.
And it's a great show. It's a great show.
I mean, the show itself. I mean, a lot of times they touch on the headlines or something, but you can generally, if you watch the news, pick up on some of the stuff they're running with, and some of the spins they put on it, and you get to see like what's interesting is how you see people progress from being able to the officers to the detectives to the chiefs and all that type of stuff. So that was one of the ones I picked.
Yeah. For my next one, I'm gonna go to cable Sopranos. And to me, like what I really liked about the Sopranos is we got to see the inner workings of the mob through these fictional characters, and we got to see, I guess, like some of their humanistic qualities. So Tony Soprano is this big time mob boss dude, but then you see his interaction with his son and his daughter. You see his conflict resolution skills or lack thereof when he's going in business. You see like the development of the characters. Like you think back, you look at like the earlier seasons of where his nephew Chris was towards the end, like the kind of the stature, the clout that he had, and the how their relationship ended with Tony eventually, when they got in the car accident. Tony, I don't know how much of this you watched or if you've seen it, but Tony had to end up killing him rather than rescuing him.
Yeah.
Even though it was anticlimactic the way it ended, I think the door has been left open for anybody who's followed that from start to finish to be able to kind of formulate whatever they want the ending to be. So for some people, it's like, Tony and his family went away and lived happily. For some people, it's the dude who came in through the door, shot and killed Tony. Yeah. But it just how you call it? Like I think that was, and I give HBO their props. Like I think HBO turns out some phenomenal television shows, and I think that's what 50 Cent honestly is starting to do with Stars. Also, because Stars has a lot of great shows too.
Yeah, they do.
But yeah, so I go Sopranos for my third one. What you have for your fourth one?
So just on the Sopranos thing, they have I think it's called Newark Saints coming out, a Sopranos story on HBO Max.
Wow.
So that should be pretty good. It's like a full-length film.
And aren't they doing is that the one that's supposed to be the prequel with James Gandolfini's son or something like that?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be hot. What you got for number 4? What's your fourth one?
So this one I chose was Saturday Night Live.
Okay.
Because I think if you look at comedians all the way through, some of the best work that some of these comedians have ever done has been on Saturday Night Live. And like some of the funniest skits and the funniest times you had all the way through has been some of the phenomenal through that. It seems like, I guess because of the show that it is and the level of that you have to be on there, everybody seems to want to bring their best to the table when they are on Saturday Night Live. It's almost like a rite of passage or a badge of courage for comedians to get on there.
Mm-hmm.
And they come in and they give their best work. Like I remember what's in the most recent one this year. You see the Dave Chappelle one this year?
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah,
I seen Dave Chappelle. You know what? I do think that Saturday Night Live was like used to be through the 80s and the 90s was like a launching pad for a lot of young comedians. And especially you think about like the Eddie Murphys, the Dan Aykroyd, Steve Martin, Chevy Chase, Chris Rock. There's just so many people, so many of them got their opportunity. And I wonder, I look at their cast now. I think they had Jay Farrell, Michael Che, and they got, what's the guy? Is it Kenan Thompson, I think, or whatever?
He's been there for 20 years. He's been there 20 years.
So that's what I was about to say. I wonder, like, how come he hasn't ascended to do other things? Like, is it that he's become complacent and he's like, yo, this is it for me? I peaked at Saturday Night Live, because you're right. Saturday Night Live was a rite of passage where everybody would just go through. They cut their chops and then they would go. They skyrocket. Their stock in Hollywood was through the roof.
Yeah. Was I know he's got a show called Kenan. I don't know how well that's going.
Yeah,
I know something happened with Jay Farrell. I think was his show in relation to 50 Cent too.
I watched his show. He had a show. I forget what.
Almost Famous. I think it was called Almost.
Yeah, and then it was okay, but it got canceled. It was okay. It wasn't canceled.
Yeah. I think it got canceled because of something else that happened off the actual scene too, in relation to something. I think 50 Cent or somebody might have been behind that show too, but they haven't really produced like too many new people coming out, like ascending through that too.
Mm-hmm. It's crazy that you would mention Saturday Night Live, because I have on my list In Living Color. Yeah, and I put In Living Color because I thought same reason. I'm like, okay, In Living Color launched so many different people's career. In Living Color, when I was a kid, it was a staple to be in the house at Sunday. Make sure Sunday at 8 o'clock you turn on Living Color, because it just embodied the culture, like the dancing and the clothing, the music, the comedy. In Living Color, Tommy Davidson, Keenan Ivory Wayans, Damon Wayans, Sean Wayans, Jim Carrey. What's the other, I forget the other
Jennifer
lady.
Lopez,
Jennifer Lopez. But there's a Kim Whitley.
Kim Whitley, David Allen Greer.
Yeah, like all of these people came through there, and as a result of coming through there, had this lasting impression on the culture. Like that, I watch In Living Color now. Like I see sometimes the reruns, and it to me, In Living Color aged better than Martin.
It did.
Like, and like some of the Martin stuff I look at now, and I'm like, damn, like yo, we laughed at this stuff. But then Living Color stuff I still look at, and you're not gonna get the same laugh, but it's still good sketch comedy. I read probably maybe a year ago a book in Living Color. It was like a behind the scenes telling like all the different stories and everything, and it was amazing, like the stuff that Keenan Ivory Wayans had to go through, like the battle with the network to keep In Living Color on the air. And they talked about like Tommy Davidson's cocaine addiction and how there was like infighting amongst the staff and what it meant with Jim Carrey leaving and with Damon Wayans leaving and all the stuff, and that they have said that for many years they were trying to do like a reboot of it, but what happened was Keenan Ivory Wayans was saying that the only way that he would ever touch it again is if he could have 100% creative control on it. So, as a result of it, now we got, I mean, they're not the greatest films, but I honestly feel like Sean and Marlon Wayans have brought like to me, Don't Be a Menace is a hilarious film. White Chicks, like they've brought us some films that they're not Oscar worthy films, but they serve a purpose in film.
They write a lot more involved in a lot more movies than people think. Like, listen, even Let's Be Cops.
Yeah.
They're involved in so many things, and when you look at like A Living Color, you could arguably say that was in Saturday Night Live left off, like you said, in that 90s, 80s, 2000 thing, and they picked up where they left off.
Yeah,
because people like Jim Carrey's success is like meteoric.
Exactly.
Like he went through the roof, and that was kind of like how Saturday Night Live went.
And I think honestly, probably where they left off, I think Dave Chappelle probably came in afterwards and was like the next big thing. Who you got for your fifth one? What show you got?
The fifth one, it was a toss up. Because I'm sitting there like I'm trying to figure out, am I gonna look at shows or what am I gonna put in the criteria and different stuff like that? And this is funny. I come to realize that I've watched Jeopardy for 20 years, dude.
Jeopardy is a staple on TV.
Like for 20 years or something, I watched Jeopardy, and I think one of the things about it is that it just it's like there's a lot of people that watch Jeopardy. I'm sure it's just one of those things where you at times you actually realize you know a little more than what you think you know on some of these questions. And it's interesting now because years ago people weren't winning this type of money. Like you might have somebody win Jeopardy for a week or something, or you get to know people, but now you got a dude that's the bartender from Brooklyn is won for 6 weeks straight and he's up to 570,000 on Jeopardy.
Yeah.
So it's like it's astronomical. I mean, I don't know if we could attest that to the school system or what, but
I think I think the correlation is I think that because it's become a staple that people have watched it for so long, and it's almost like remember White Men Can't Jump, where you have Rosie Perez, her whole thing was to get on Jeopardy. There are people that literally watch those shows and be like, if I ever get on Jeopardy, if I ever get on Price is Right, if I ever get on Wheel of Fortune, and that I mean, I don't know what it is now with Alex Trebek not being there, because I know they went through some scandal also with the dude that they had initially wanted to put in there for him. But it's a landmark. It's like you've come to expect that Jeopardy is gonna be on. I don't think I've ever heard anybody ever mention what the ratings are for Jeopody. I just always assume that Jeopardy is always gonna be there. But I would imagine, look, Jeopardy's probably won God only knows how many Emmys. For their show. I have another one, and then I got two honorable mentions. Sesame Street. Sesame Street. And the reason I say Sesame Street is I think Sesame Street is responsible for educating so many people. I know Sesame Street taught people English. Sesame Street has put their foot now in the water of politics to try to teach kids how politics works. They Sesame Street is now trying their hand with sexuality. How that's gonna work, I don't know. I have no idea. But Sesame Street to me is a staple, and Sesame Street, when it's all said and done, if it ever is done for Sesame Street, because I think Sesame Street probably is one of the longest running shows all time. And then I isn't Sesame Street is like technically on public broadcast.
Yeah,
right.
All for donations.
Yeah, so that should tell you about the longevity and the value of a show like Sesame Street. And in Sesame Street, I don't think there was some scandal with the dude who was playing Elmo or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know that.
But I've never heard like Sesame Street really. I've never heard somebody say Sesame Street had a bad episode or Sesame Street, this season was terrible or whatever it is. Like I think Sesame Street is another thing, like similar to Jeopardy, is a staple. And then the other thing that I'm gonna go with, another show that to me is I think like set the benchmark really, really high. Again with HBO, The Wire.
Yeah.
I think The Wire to me was a phenomenal series from season 1 to the final season. Like the season I liked the least was the season where they focused on the docs. But after watching it all in its entirety, I realized I'm like, okay, now I can see why the docs play, the discussion or the season involving the docs plays such a significant role. So The Wire for me, I thought The Wire was like very well written. And then my honorable mention that I'll say, and it probably sound bugged because it's different from a lot of these other shows, but Cheers, I think also. Cheers sort of fell in that era to me when you had like the Cheers, you had the Golden Girls, you had the Mr. Belvedere or whatever it was. But Cheers was a phenomenon, and I'm trying to think. As many times that I've watched Cheers, I don't know if I could think of how many scenes I've seen where they weren't actually in the bar.
I think I don't know if how many it was that was there. They really filmed that whole thing in the bar.
Yeah. And how many seasons did people actually watch Cheers and let the storylines play out of even the relationship between this dude Sam and Rebecca, I forget what her name was or whatever. Everything transpired in the bar. Everything was about the bar, and I think that was like Cheers to me is iconic, and it get how you call it. I give it this props. Like I've never watched. People like, how could you? I've never watched an entire episode of Friends, but a lot of people swear by Friends too.
Yeah, people do love it. I don't watch it like that. Or I've seen it, but that's not something that I get the premise or something.
I've never watched an entire episode of Friends, but I've seen many episodes of Cheers. I've seen many episodes of Golden Girls. I've seen, of course, Mr. Belvedere. Those type of shows. And it's another thing that now looking back at like some of these shows that it felt like when you were younger that they were on forever. Some of these shows didn't have like really as long of a run as as you may have thought that they had. Another show that I think there was a really great show also that I think that they kind of threw a stain in how good of a show it was Family Matters.
Oh yeah, Family Matters. Yeah, Family Matters was a good show. I was actually watching that the other day. Yeah, Family Matters was a good show.
Towards the end, it just got crazy with Urkel in outer space, and it was. I saw a really good interview with Jaleel White, and he was talking about it. And actually, it was Talib Kweli that was interviewing him, and he was saying that one of the struggles that they had was that it was the writers were white, and it was a black family, and they were trying to write stuff that they thought would be funny for a black family, and he said that it really was. And he said it was like by no fault of Miller and Boyette, the production company, but he said it took like a real long time for them to really get to the nitty gritty and figure it out. And then he talked about like all the stuff around like the pushback that he got from his family and his dad when they started dressing him up as the cousin, and the dresses and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
President
It was,
Dress.
it was a really
Yeah, he
good.
was playing multiple roles. Stefan Urkel, the cousin. Yeah,
Yeah,
he was
yeah,
playing all the different roles. I mean,
yeah, yeah.
you know what's sad about that too? I think I heard something too. Like a lot of times, like classical actors and all types of stuff. I'm gonna tell you another show that we completely forgot about.
Fresh
That
Prince of Bel-Air.
Yeah, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Yep.
Bel-Air, a lot of people love too.
But when you think about these classically trained actors, the show started off about a family, and then then it turned into almost like the Urkel show, and
Yep.
everybody else was kind of like secondary people. So at that point, it was so bad because think about how many sisters they flipped through that you didn't even. They had Waldo and this dude, and his little sister got flipped through how many times? And people didn't even realize she was getting flipped through. It changed out like 3 times.
Well, he made a good point. Reginald Val Johnson, he was saying how simplistic the writing was when it started out. He said that Reginald Val Johnson had just came off of doing Die Hard, so he was a familiar face as a cop. So what did they do? They made the father a cop.
Yeah.
The mom, I forget her name. Her name is, I think was it Joe Marie or something. The mom was on. I don't know if you remember. She was on Perfect Strangers, working in the department store.
Oh yeah.
They kept that too or whatever, and they just basically moved these two people over from I seen them in this as that as a department store working a cop, put them together, and then as a result of it, created a family. But Reginald Val Johnson, Joe Marie, and I think didn't they have Thelma Hopkins? These were all like
Hopkins,
big to do. These were all big to do actors and actresses that basically they had to play second fiddle to him with the comedy relief. And I didn't even realize he said that he wasn't even on the initial episodes. That he wasn't on the initial episodes, and that they did a test. They must have did a test run or something like that, and people really, really resonated to him. So they went back and refilmed and reinserted him in the early episodes. Found a way to put him in the early episodes. So I don't know, but that's my 5. I still hands down say I feel like HBO develops some of the best television shows, and people leave their television shows in the comments. I know Game of Thrones is a big one that people love. Walking Dead, I know people love. ER is a big one that I know.
ER is a big one.
Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, a lot of people love also, and I was a fan of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air also, but after a while, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air became stale to me. Me also.
It started when he started going to college and all that type of stuff. It kind of took a turn.
Yeah. Well, that concludes episode 97. We closing in on 100 mark. We trying to put something special together for our 100th show. Thank you for checking in. We'll catch y'all next week. Peace, everybody.